Saw just a few minutes ago, travel is back on the cards for many of us. It's exciting. Our next guest is on an adventure, though, to visit, get this, every single country in the world. But there's one catch. He's not allowed to fly. It's never been done before, and lucky for us, he has just arrived in New Zealand, his 197th country. Thor is joining us this morning. Morena, that's good morning in Te Reo Māori.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm learning the kia ora.
Kia ora, yeah, you can say that
Very
as well.
Simple.
Yeah, welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel to be here?
I'm very happy to be. I've been here before as a tourist more than 10 years ago, so I already knew how wonderful your country is. And this time I'm here project related, so I might just be in the Auckland region.
Yeah, project related, but you're still technically a tourist in a way, aren't you?
Well, my day is built up around lots of emails, lots of research, trying to liaison with shipping companies, trying to keep an eye on which borders are opening and so on. I think most tourists, they will be out trying the food and traveling to volcanoes and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, I want to get the lay of the land. Tell me about this adventure of yours and how it started for you.
Yeah, so my father sent me an email, and he has often done that. There was a link within the email. I clicked on it. There was an article about people going to every country in the world. And that's when I sort of got an idea about this world of people traveling to every country in the world. And it turned out no one had done it in an unbroken journey completely without flying. So you have maybe less than 300 people that have been to every country in the world, and no one completely without flying. So that intrigued me. And then 10 months later, I set out and I crossed the border from Denmark to Germany, and I was off my way on a project I thought would take maximum 4 years. But here we are, coming close to 9.
Close to 9.
Yeah.
So you have not been home in almost 9 years.
That's right. Yeah, it's 8 years, 8 months and a bit now. And with the remaining 6 countries, maybe if things go my way, I can have the South Pacific before the end of the year. But I don't know, with the COVID-19 regulations and precautions, it's really tough. Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yes, yeah, definitely crazy. Most people would have thrown the towel in long ago. I've had all sorts of hurdles. It's been beautiful. I mean, there's so much good to look back on. But if you want to look at the obstacles, they have also been plentiful. And then when the pandemic hit,
yes,
you know, at some point, most people would have gone, okay, I'm going back home. I'm not dealing with this anymore.
Okay, so remind me, how many countries are there in the world?
That's a good question, because that really depends on politics and religion and so on, but roughly 200. United Nations will give you 193, and then you can add 2 observatory states, so 195. The Olympics will typically play with 206 countries. My list is 203.
203?
Yes.
And you're up to 197?
So 6 to go, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you started in Europe, which is fine because that's all kind of landlocked and you're in one continent and that's easy to do.
Yeah.
What was the first kind of international, overseas trip that you had to do?
I made it across the North Atlantic. So I made it up to Scotland, and then I got on a small fishing boat from Scotland to Faroe Islands, and then from Faroe Islands I made my way up to Greenland, and then from Greenland I had to come... No, let's see, I went to Iceland and then Greenland. Then from Greenland I made my way back to Iceland, and then on a container ship across the North Atlantic in the wintertime. We got stuck in a storm. The ship was all over the place. I thought we were going down. It was nearby where Titanic sank, and we had ice sightings. Our ship wasn't ice class, so it was just all sorts of havoc, and especially for me as a novice. But the seafarers, they calmed me down and said, everything's going to be fine. Don't go outside. Don't fall off the boat. You'll be okay. And after 4 days of a storm, it evened out, and we had dolphins and we had whales all over the place. 4 hours before we could see land, I could smell trees as standing in a forest. So the wind was blowing out from Canada and blowing pollen out to sea. So it was quite an extraordinary experience. And then I made it to North America as my first new continent.
Yes.
Went south, Central America, South America, Caribbean, got into Africa, Western Africa, Central Africa, South Africa,
yes,
all the way to the Pacific, and now I'm here.
And so how are you doing? So you've touched on a couple, there's container ships involved, there's passenger boats.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, a lot of countries are either landlocked or connected by land, so you can just walk over the border. And so the majority of the journey has been buses and trains. It's interesting when I come to island nations like New Zealand. New Zealand doesn't have a land border with any other country. Then people assume that I'm sailing to every country in the world. So every time I go to an island nation, people assume you must be sailing mostly. But if you look at the map, most of the world is connected by land. So it's trains and buses and taxis and walking across a few borders as well.
How did you get to New Zealand?
On a container ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to sail here. I got on a ship in Melbourne, and then it went up to Sydney, and then from Sydney it went across. I was supposed to come directly to Auckland, but you have very strict regulations for biosecurity. And once a year, these container ships, they need to have their hull cleaned, and it was about time for that ship. So we were sent to the Bay of Plenty to wait for divers to come and clean the bottom of the ship. And because the weather wasn't calm enough, the divers couldn't do their work. And we ended up being stuck or drifting in the Bay of Plenty for 17 days with me looking at New Zealand going like, why is nobody coming to get me? Why am I out here? And then finally the hull was clean, we could come to Auckland and I could set foot in New Zealand.
We were talking about it in the break. It's kind of like you said, running a marathon and then getting to the end and them saying, here's a bag of wheat or flour or something that you've got to carry, and we've got to add another 20 Ks on top of it.
Constantly. It always feels like, it seems like 6 countries is nothing. Most of us would be able to go to 6 countries. But my 6 countries and the way I'm trying to conduct this project, it just seems absolutely impossible.
So what are the last 6?
4 of them are in the South Pacific.
Yep.
So that is Samoa, Tonga, Vanuatu, and Tuvalu. It looks like Vanuatu is opening up now, but let's see if they open up in stages or what happens. And then in the Indian Ocean, we have Sri Lanka and Maldives. And then I should be on my way home back to Denmark. Yeah.
You want to get home, right?
I do. I have a wife back home.
Oh.
Thor? I only shave when I see my wife, right? So this is how long it's been since the last time I saw my wife.
What are we talking?
This is 2.5 months. She was in Melbourne, so I saw her there. Yeah. And
is she so mad at you?
How would I know? She's on the other side of the
Okay, and you're doing this for a good cause, right?
I hope so, yeah. I think so. In many ways, this is a project that inspires people to try to go out and achieve the goals they have. They want to learn an instrument or a language, or if they want to save money, they want to lose weight. It's all about heading towards that goal and never giving up anywhere in between. And I think I'm showing persistence with what I'm doing, so hopefully that inspires and motivates people. I'm also traveling as a goodwill ambassador of the Danish Red Cross, and I've been teaming up with the Red Cross globally. So far I've met with the movement in 191 countries, and when I meet with New Zealand Red Cross, there'll be 192. So we're trying to raise funds and awareness and symbolically connecting the movement around the world. And then I'm trying to promote the countries as positive as I can. I think media and news has overweight of negativity. There are a lot of horrible stories that have to be shared, and it's a part of our world. But a lot of the stuff that's not getting shared is how normal the world is. How many people are out there just taking care of their children, going to school, getting stuck in traffic, listening to music, barbecues, holidays, selfies, social media, all this stuff. And that's the bulk of everything I've come across on this planet. So I think that needs to be pushed a little bit forward as well. So I think it's a good project. I think we're doing good things with it, but it's hard, and I do want to go home.
Yeah, I bet. Do you have a favourite country?
New Zealand.
No, stop
of course,
it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, I think that's a general rule. You have to say the country that you're with. Then I get in trouble when I have 2 people from different nationalities. But here's the philosophy. So every country in the world could be the best country in the world. It certainly is to someone. There's someone in New Zealand who swears this is the best country in the world. And there's someone in North Korea who swears that's the best country in the world. So as a visitor, and I'm a guest, right? So as a visitor, I have to come and see what makes this the best country in the world and try to see it from that view and promote it as the best country in the world. And then I go to Vanuatu, and then that's the best country in the world. And then I go somewhere else, and it's the best. But right now, New Zealand's the best country in the world.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No.
Where can people follow you if they want to keep up to date?
They're welcome to join on Once Upon a Saga. So that's like Once Upon a Time, but S-A-G-A, Saga. And they can find me on Facebook, Instagram, there's YouTube, there's a blog, there's Twitter. And apparently there's
TikTok. That's how I found
as
you
well.
on TikTok. You came up on my page while I was scrolling mindlessly.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased I saw your video because this has been truly brilliant. I'm so happy to have you on our show this morning.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
To you and mostly to your wife, who's waiting patiently, hopefully patiently.
We were meant to get married in New Zealand before the pandemic. That was the plan. We had everything set up. We were going up to Lee, and there's a Danish community here, and they were setting everything up for us. We're supposed to get married here, and then the pandemic struck.
Okay, well let's get that on the cards again, all right? Yeah. I think so. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, sure. So you'll make sure she comes to...
I'm a marriage celebrant. I'll marry...
Yeah, he is.
Let's do it.
Hey, thank you so much, Thor, and all the best for the rest of the adventure. That's Thor Peterson, the adventurer from Once Upon a Saga.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.